Today on Locked on Rockies, the Rockies swept by the Dodgers. Not the biggest news of the day for the Rockies, as there's a big shakeup. Maybe the word big is doing a little bit of a stretching. Coming to the Rockies front office.
You are Locked on Rockies, your daily Colorado Rockies podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Rock on Rockies fans, welcome into the Locked on Rockies podcast for today, the 27th day of June in the year 2025. I'm your host of the Locked on Rockies podcast, Paul Holden, bringing you your daily Colorado Rockies talk right here on the Locked on Podcast Network, where you can find your team every day. And if your team is the Colorado Rockies, guess what? You're in the right spot, because that's what we do around here each and every day. Free and streaming on your favorite streaming services, bringing you your daily Colorado Rockies talk. We're also on the Locked on Rockies YouTube channel, where you can be part of the show. You can fire off your Rockies hot takes. You can let me know what's going on in the world of the Colorado Rockies fan, because that's what we're talking about today, because there's a big story in line for Rockies fans, and it's not the fact that the Rockies were swept by the Dodgers. It's not the fact that the Rockies are still on pace for 30-something wins this year and hit the official halfway point of the season without winning 20 games. It is the fact that the Rockies decided to promote the son of Dick Monfort to a massive position. We're going to dive into all of that and more on today's episode of Locked on Rockies. And before we get to that big news, let's, of course, just kind of talk about the game a little bit here. It's not the biggest story, because how many times have you seen Clayton Kershaw dominate the Rockies? Which he did. Got 4 strikeouts, I believe, on the day. Got halfway to his historic mark. I was sitting there thinking he was going to get it. I mean, it's Clayton Kershaw against the Rockies. And it starts off, hey, the game's tight, the game's close, and it didn't get out of hand. Certainly, it was a close ball game throughout it, but pull ahead there. It's when you're not able to do anything, when you're held to 2 hits on the day. It's going to be tough. It's going to be real tough to do. And then especially when you look at how that game ended, where you get a walk and then it's a double up off a ball in the outfield, that's just absolutely unacceptable. Even with how good Tyler Freeman has been, those type of mistakes, I mean, that's just flat out, you just can't have that. That is just unacceptable. Like that game cannot end the way that it did. But how much time is it worth really spending on breaking down a game in which the Rockies were outmatched? Shocker. The Dodgers, a lot better than Colorado. Clayton Kershaw, really good against the Rockies. Shohei Ohtani, really good against the Rockies. I believe I might be getting the stat wrong, so grain of salt this one here. But if I remember hearing correctly on the broadcast of the game, Shohei has 13 home runs against the Rockies in 31 games. That means in almost half of the games that Shohei Ohtani has played against the Colorado Rockies in his career, he's hit a home run. Domination, folks. Again, this goes back to the beginning, where you can the Rockies and complaining and just watching this team get so good and so much better than them, and the only thing that they can do in response was whine about the fact that they can spend more money. No, they develop better than you. They get more players. They get more out of players. They help players get better. They do everything better than you. Colorado. That's plain and simple. I mean, and that was on full display in the series again. 6 straight wins for the Dodgers against the Rockies in this season, and it ain't going to get any better anytime soon, especially when you get back to down to August, when the Dodgers will probably be getting healthier. And these pitchers are going to return, and they will further dominate this team. Shohei Ohtani hits a home run. Clayton Kershaw cruises. Grass is green. That's why it's on the overlay there. That's the game. You know, the plus side, that's a good thing and an exciting thing. Brenton Doyle gets a good swing there, gets a home run there against Clayton Kershaw, and gets himself there. Feeling a little mojo back, certainly not enough to get everything, and it's only one of the 2 hits the Rockies got in the game. But when you're talking about a confidence booster, when you're talking about something that's going to feel good, hitting a home run off the Hall of Famer Clayton Kershaw is always going to be a good time. But that's the main takeaway. It's you're outmatched on every level, and the Dodgers just completely put you in check in 2 games in a row. I mean, again, you can look at and point at, hey, look at how good those stretches were. Look at how good the starts were. Look at how good this was. It doesn't matter. It was still put away. You were still dominated on offense. Held to 2 runs at home over 2 games. Another day where you're racking up the Ks and racking up the strikeouts here. Let's see, how many strikeouts did the Rockies have today? Only 8 so far by Rockies standards. An 8 strikeout day is somewhat better than what they have usually done. But On top of it, it's just not enough. I mean, again, it's not a game where you look and say like, oh, it was the worst game the Rockies have played. But when you look at the box score, when you look at what happened, it was domination. 2 hits across 9 innings there, and one of those hits coming in the second inning there for the Rockies. And the only other person to get a base knock here for the Rockies was Ryan Ritter. I mean, again, you're talking about guys that are supposed to be contributors for this lineup and just not getting it done. I mean, it's just tough. It's just tough to see when this team is just so outmatched and able to just, get basically blown away when it comes to these good teams. Dodgers are a really good team. Duh. That is part of the takeaways, but again, it's not getting any easier. You're heading on the road to go play the Brewers, then the Astros come into town before you do get that reprieve of the White Sox there as well. But I think, that's really the main takeaway of the finale was just the better team won. The better team was in a position to be more successful, and that's what they did. Good teams, when you are a good team and when you're in a good spot, you don't lose those games. You don't lose those series. You don't drop those games. And the Dodgers have every single chance that they've had against the Rockies have beaten them. And in other years, in a non-historically bad years, that wouldn't be the case. The Rockies probably would have stolen at least 1, maybe 2 at this point, and have been close, a couple of one-run games, and only losing by 2 in the finale here in the Wednesday game, there, the Thursday game, I should say. But it was just like a wow. I mean, every time that these series finishes up, right, it's just a reminder of that's the best. That's what and I've said this time and time again, but anytime these NL West series end and anytime that you end up, swept away again, you have to continue to look and say, that's what it takes. It takes, and you can sit and cry foul about how much money they spend and it's there, but you're ignoring the fact that the Dodgers are good in a variety of ways. They're good as an organization. They're good at what they do on a development side. They spend money and they get things out of the Miguel Rojas's of the world. And when the Dodgers get matched up against these bad teams, they don't falter. Some other teams in baseball have not been able to pass the tests of going up against bad teams and struggling against them or going on long stretches. And the Dodgers were having a weird stretch for a little bit there where they were losing and it wasn't all that good, but second team in baseball and the first team in the National League to hit 50 wins. And so, I mean, they're certainly cruising now. They're certainly getting to a spot where their offense is good enough to navigate these injuries. They're basically showing what they've been able to do last year all over again. And it just, again, as I've said multiple times here, the feelings I have of this game are a feeling of jealousy, a jealousy of an elite team, a jealousy of a team that develops their players, that gets the big deals done, that has the revenue and the resources and the people in charge making the right calls to build a juggernaut of a team. And it was pretty quickly to see the emotions and the energy of the Rockies change after that first game where they jumped out ahead and they were and scoring some runs, putting some pressure on. And then it's a reminder, the Dodgers reminded you who's the boss, who's the king of not only the division, but the king of baseball right now, and who's in a position to go back-to-back for World Series champions. So the Rockies got beat. They got dominated by the Dodgers. That's plain and simple. That's another day where Clayton Kershaw handles business, and another game in which Shohei Ohtani hits a bomb, and another day where the Rockies offense is non-existent, not able to back up anything. A solid performance, a solid bounce-back performance from Austin Gomber in this one when you look at his line there, especially compared to last time. 5 innings, only 4 hits, 1 earned, 1 walk, 1 strikeout. So again, not a horrible day for the Rockies pitching staff as well. It took a few pitchers to get the job done. And when you look at it, letting only 3 to the Dodgers defense, the Dodgers offense, and it being 1 earned run a pop for those that are associated with it, not too shabby of a job from the bullpen. But when you can't get anything going on offense, especially at home, you're going to continue to be on the worst track in Major League Baseball history. Let's read here real quick from Patrick Lyons here real fast, just so I'm making sure I get the statistics right here. Rockies lose to the Dodgers and drop to 18-63 over the first half of games. That 36-126 pace would go down as the worst in the modern era since 1901 of baseball history. Patrick also said, "What an awful way to finish the series for the Rockies. Leadoff walk in the ninth to bring the tying run at the plate against the Dodgers. Not even a traditional 6-4-3 double play to end it. An outfield assist doubles off Tyler Freeman at first base. Ouch." That's it. I mean, that's really the summary right there. But on the flip side, Brendan Doyle hit a home run. That feels good. All right, let's dive into the big Rockies storyline here. And again, it's change. But the optics and everything, amidst everything this season, I don't think it was that big of a surprise to see the response that I saw on social media to this news. Let's talk about that coming up next. Before we do that, though, got to tell you about the folks that help make this show possible, and that includes Gametime. Gametime is our title sponsor today, and have you ever decided at the last minute to head to the ball game with friends or family? Maybe it's game day, and you suddenly realize you want to be in the stands. That's exactly where Gametime comes in. It's the easiest way to grab last-minute tickets without the stress. With the money you save on tickets, you can splurge on food, drinks, merch, or even invite a bigger group to come with you. What's better than a big group at the ballpark enjoying a nice summer day? Gametime makes it possible. Gametime makes buying tickets fast and simple. Prices on the app actually drop the closer you get to first pitch, and they've got incredible last-minute deals with clear seat views and the lowest price guarantee that takes the worrying out of buying. Man, I love that view from the seat. It just makes me feel so much more confident when I buy my tickets because I know exactly what I'm getting when I pick those up. And thank goodness for Gametime because it has gotten me into massive events, including the MLB All-Star Game and big concerts as well. Gametime is the official ticketing partner of Locked On MLB, making it easy to browse the app for an exciting Major League Baseball game. Maybe you're in Milwaukee and you want to pick up tickets to Milwaukee Rockies. We'll go check that out here. And Gametime has last-minute tickets and zone deals for big savings like 10% off exclusive zone deals for FIFA World Cup matches. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download the Gametime app. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Locked On Rockies back at you here for segment number 2 of today's episode of Locked On Rockies. Thank you so much again for making us your first listen of the day. Free and streaming on your favorite streaming services, bringing you your daily Colorado Rockies talk right here on the Locked On Rockies podcast. And there was big news here. Greg Fiesel is stepping down as president and chief operating officer of the Colorado Rockies at the end of 2025. And what do the Rockies do? They promote Walker Monfort, Dick Monfort's 38-year-old eldest son. We're going to be reading a little bit here from Renee Deckhart's Colorado Rockies announced promotion of Walker Monfort to executive vice president. And let's just take it off the nose here. Before we dive into a lot of stuff, because in the press release, they talk about Walker and there's experience and all this stuff. But let's talk about the optics here. Let's talk about the optics of this in this situation, and Walker comments on this too. So I think that that's important before we set off here. That Walker Monfort addressed this and when talking to the Denver Post about this promotion and such, highlighting this a little bit. So I think that's important to know that Walker is aware of what the optics are on this, because you got to be freaking kidding me, right? Like, I mean, that if for Rockies fans, your initial reaction has to be that. When it comes down to the worst season in baseball history, bringing change to the Rockies, you were hoping it was going to be this. But here, in a situation, and again, do I know exactly what the executive vice president of the president and chief operating officer, what that exactly will do and how much they've actually been able to influence the minds of Dick Monfort? I don't know. Because at the end of the day, it's Dick Monfort making the calls. But the optics of this, you cannot deny how ludicrous the optics of this are. Out of every possibility that you could be doing, and when you hear this news and when you're thinking about making this move and making this change, and it sounds like Fiesel was, planning on this for a little bit, according to the press release and things like that. You got to be kidding me. There's no search. There's no nothing. This is classic Rockies action. Promote from within and just feed a bunch of BS to at least satiate some of the Rockies fans, because this is horrendous in ways. Yes, we can look at some of the stuff but the last possible thing you could tell a Rockies fan right now to make them feel more confident in the future of the team is that not only are you promoting from within, not only are you not looking outside the organization, not only are you not entertaining that at all, not embracing that, not actually looking and seeking to make change from outside of the organization, that something that this team desperately needs. Dick Monfort promotes his son. And again, there's qualifications. Walker Monfort's been with the team for a while. He's been in baseball since graduating. But name me a single Rockies fan that wants to hear that a Monfort is getting more power, that Monforts are gaining more control of the organization. It doesn't have to just be Dick. It's the Monfort family. And I understand that each person is different within that family. But the name Monfort does not instill confidence in the Rockies fan. The name Monfort does not make you feel like this team is going to move in the right direction. And Walker's job is to change that. And that is going to be a massive, massive, massive job. You have to fix the reputation of the Rockies, and you have to fix the reputation of the Monfort name associated with the Rockies, while also balancing the fact that your dad does not look at baseball the same way as the competitive teams. Your dad has thrown in the towel and has thrown tantrums and has been willing to quit and cry foul at other teams having more resources than them, instead of using your resources, instead of being more creative, instead of finding solutions to your problem. They've only just pointed at things and cried foul. And again, I want to give the benefit of the doubt of Walker to be able to come in here. He's young. He's 38. He can come in. It is a younger perspective. He could be, approaching the game in a different way with different philosophies to change his dad's mind. That is certainly all possible. All possible. But right now, the immediate reaction, how can it not be? Oh my God, we have to find something. We got to find a solution. We can't allow this. We can't keep doing this. We can't keep going on the path that we're down. We can't keep enabling what we're doing. So what are we going to do? We're going to do the exact same thing we've always done. We're going to hire and promote from within. We're not going to look outside the organization. No searches, no nothing, no looking around. Because remember, no one can figure out what we haven't been able to figure out. It's impossible. It's impossible to crack the code. We can't do it. We can't bring in the outside perspectives. That's what Dick Monfort has told us. Dick Monfort has told us time and time again that you can't bring in the outside perspectives. The answer is going to be within this organization that's on track to be the worst baseball team of all time. So the response and the answer for Dick Monfort, instead of tearing it down to the studs, instead of self-evaluation, instead of really looking for different change, it's nepotism. It's hiring from within. It's promoting your son, because it's got to be that. It's got to be your son. It's got to be. That's the only answer. It's the only possible solution. Not looking at people with other baseball experience. Not looking to find and bring people in from teams that are more successful. No. The secret to cracking the code of the Rockies is always within the organization of the Rockies. That's always what they're looking at. That's always their philosophy. So for this to be the response and the answer for part of the front office change, because there might be more changes. Who knows? That there could be a lot of different things. But this outrage and this rant and this rave in this segment, it is solely based on the optics here, because it matters. Because if you go and look at that post on Twitter there and you see the reaction to it, it's pretty crazy. Now, there have been some people. I saw Spilly. I saw some media members talking about and building up the resume of Walker Monfort. And let's dive into this piece a little bit from Purple Row here after the break, so we can put a little bit more of the context here. Got the ranting and raving out of there. Got the surface level stuff. But let's dive in a little bit more here and see what Renee's got for us on this piece, so we can understand a little bit more about what qualifications Walker has and what his plans are for the team here. coming up as the team has to go through a more successful second half, or they're going to be the worst team in baseball history. And we'll see more from this big news for the Rockies here coming up after the break. Locked On Rockies back with you here for segment number 3 of this Friday edition of Locked On Rockies. Let me know what you thought when you saw the news that Walker Monfort was going to be promoted to the president and chief operating officer, and the stepping down of Greg Fiesel there. So we're going to read here a little bit from Colorado Rockies announced promotion of Walker Monfort to executive vice president from Renee Deckard and Evan Lang. I'm sorry, Evan. My guy Evan was also on the byline here, so we shouldn't ignore that here. Rockies owner Dick Monfort praised Fiesel's work. Greg has been a pillar of this organization since its earliest days. His leadership and vision helped shape not only the Colorado Rockies organization, but the entire baseball community throughout the Rocky Mountain region. According to Fiesel, the move had been in discussion for a number of years. He will continue to work the Rockies as a limited partner and member of the Colorado Rockies Foundation Board. Monfort went on to praise his son's knowledge and experience. We are excited to turn the page into our next chapter with Walker, Dick said. He brings a depth of understanding of this organization earned through his 20 years of experience working both within and alongside every department of our operation. He offers a fresh, forward-looking mindset, and we're confident his perspective, experience, and leadership will benefit the club in the months to come. Walker Monfort has worked for the Rockies organization in some capacity since 2005. After graduating from Colorado State University in 2009, Walker assumed a role with the Rockies baseball operations team, focusing on the organization's minor league system and player development. He was in this position through the 2013 season. Since 2015, the younger Monfort has served as the club's vice president of corporate partnerships. And so let's just start there. Why it doesn't sit well with Rockies fans is because it's a pretty good gig to get in there right after graduating and being with a pro baseball organization for 20 years and being involved and having all that stuff. How'd you get that set up? Oh, it goes back to your dad being the owner. And again, with this stuff, like, you can have the experience, you can have that, but how are you going to shift the power dynamic of convincing Dick Monfort what you need to do is correct? How are you going to convince your father that you are correct and not the eager young son that's trying to upend the legacy of Dick Monfort and things like that? That's a very interesting power dynamic that adds an extra layer to this. Not only is it just boss between bosses, that's between father and son. And if no one's been able to get through to Dick Monfort throughout this whole time, how is his son going to get through it? Because I don't believe that his son is going to unlock something magical and be said, you know what, my boy's telling me that this is wrong, and I've ignored all these other baseball people and all these other things that baseball minds have done, but darn it, my son is telling me now, and I got to do it. Maybe that is that. It totally could be. I mean, that family dynamic could shift on the other thing there. But that's a power dynamic that's going to be very interesting here. And here's what Walker said. I fully embrace my new responsibilities and will be accountable for impacting this organization positively in the short and long term, both on and off the field. Changes like this bring opportunities to evolve as a club, and I'm motivated to spearhead that process. At my core, I'm a Rockies fan. My goal is to maximize our resources and ultimately put our club in a position to compete for a championship. Walker spoke to the Denver Post and MLB.com about his promotion Wednesday night and was vague about any possible front office changes in the near term. Ultimately, we're open to anything, and that's where I think we want to keep it. Heard that one before. Walker said, I think we're open to whatever it takes to make the Colorado Rockies better, but I would say it's really about maximizing our resources, right? And if we don't have the right resources in place, we should figure out a way to get the resources in place, the right resources in place. That's not just from a staffing perspective. It's really from everything. Walker recognizes that his promotion will be viewed with skepticism among fans. As he told Patrick Saunders, I understand with this transition and my new role moving forward, I understand what may come off of it from people's opinions. But I think the affirmation that I can provide to them is, hey, I want to win as much as anyone else. I'm a Rockies fan at my core. I believe that we can get back to that. I'm going to be accountable for it moving forward alongside my dad and others here at the organization. Well, you better be. You better be. Because the Monfort family is out of excuses. This doesn't make me feel a lot more confident. There is a resume here. There's a long history of connected with the Rockies, but you've worked within the Rockies organization for 20 years. That doesn't mean you're going to unlock the secrets. because time and time again, the Rockies have continued to look in within the organization and hire from within there. So the people that Walker has worked with are the people that have enabled the Rockies to get into this position in the first place. And you have to start convincing and changing the most stubborn mind of all, which is your father's. So this is a total, you got to prove it. And you got to prove it from day one, because you give the runaround in your answer a little bit. Well, we got to maximize our resources. Well, you don't have as many resources. How are you going to maximize and put those resources in the right place when this team doesn't look the same at analytics, doesn't look at the game the same way, doesn't want to be as creative as teams? Because they just looked at and said, instead of going for a bigger, wide search, we're just going to promote our owner's son. So what resources do you really have? What sort of creativity do you really have? I don't care that you're a Rockies fan. Good on you. So are the rest of us. And we're tired of watching what your dad has been doing to the team and enabled with the team. So it's the first it's the first quote. It's a press release. We're not going to dive in and find everything here. That's not fair for me to go off of that. But my point is, as Rockies fans have constantly called for change, when change happens, it has not been the change that we've hoped for or expected. It's more people that could easily enable and fall in rank and file with the current structure and the current systems of the organization. So I say this to you, Walker Monfort, which I know you're not listening. I wish you the best of luck. I hope you're able to bring in a creative, fresh look that your dad is like, wow, where was this? Why haven't we done this? And it brings success to the Rockies. But I will also say, you don't have a lot of rope to work with in terms of slack, from the Rockies fan perspective. It is going to be a short leash in terms of frustration and upset and things like that. Because, again, you're not always going to be thinking of Walker Monfort and his role. But when you're thinking that the president and chief operating officer is Dick Monfort's son, when Dick Monfort's the owner, when Charlie Monfort's a part owner, when it's just Monfort, and for Rockies fans, the name Monfort is not associated with success. It's not associated with building the Rockies into a successful organization. It is not associated with being creative. It's not associated with using your resources wisely. It's not associated with even using your resources. It's associated with losing and being the worst team in baseball history. So, of course, the job search has to only be within the Rockies. Because here's my big thing about this. People in the comments have said before of like, who would want Rockies jobs? There are a lot of people out there that would love to fix the Rockies if given the right opportunity. And if they fix the Rockies, it would launch their careers into the stratosphere. Look at what happened with Theo there from the Red Sox and the Cubs. I mean, if you can change an organization's downfalls and struggles and turn them into a champion, that changes your entire career trajectory. So I guess benefit of the doubt, we'll see. But unfortunately for Walker, the benefit of the doubt has just been nothing. I give you no benefit of the doubt because your father hasn't earned that. And this is a really great point here at the end of this Purple Row article. However, fans clamoring for an external view of the organization's issues will probably question the effectiveness of this change, especially since both Dick Monfort and Rockies co-owner Charlie Monfort recently discussed the need for outside eyes. They don't care. They say that all the time. They can say we need an outside perspective, but they've never done it. The promotion also comes after Dick Monfort's younger son, Sterling, was promoted to Director of Professional Scouting in 2022. A move that was met with similar skepticism. So now the director of professional scouting for the Rockies is the son of Dick Monfort's. Now the president and chief operating officer is a son of Dick Monfort's. And the head big cheese, the big wig, is still the Monfort brothers and Dick Monfort. This is not an outside perspective. This is not looking outside. That's enabling yourself and your family to continue to have the control and influence over this team. And for Rockies fans, that's unacceptable because you lied again. Outside things, outside perspectives, BS. The Rockies way is to promote and hire from within and hire and continue to promote people that will enable Dick Monfort. So to you, Walker, I once again say good luck because we're ready and waiting to stop being the laughing stock of baseball. And now we got 3 Monforts in big position, 4 Monforts in big positions to turn it around. And we'll see if it actually happens. Rockies taking on the Brewers in a weekend series. We're out of time. We can't break down the preview the series. We'll be breaking out and reacting to the baseball on Monday. And I do want to preview ahead of time as we're jumping there. We will be doing a crossover with Locked On White Sox next week to kind of just highlight, hey, look at us, right? Want to talk a little bit about this ownership stuff. Let me know what your reaction to the Monfort thing. Am I out of control? Am I too much on the soapbox? Am I freaking out too much about Monfort stuff? Let me know in the comments because sometimes I get a little too fired up. I get that. I understand. Sometimes it turns you off, but I don't know. For me, that was not what I wanted to hear as a Rockies fan today. Thank you so much for making us your first listen of the day. For your second listen, go check out Locked On MLB and Locked On MLB Game Night. And if you need more Colorado sports, Locked On Broncos, Avalanche, Nuggets, and Buffs, free and streaming on your favorite streaming services. And until next time, I'm Paul Holden saying so long from the Locked On Rockies podcast.